Everybody, I'm Marcus.
I'm Ryan.
And together, we are the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Week 11 of the NFL and college season is in the books. Man, it's sad. It's coming to an end, bro.
Yeah, we're getting to an end.
I can't believe it, man. I don't know what I'm going to do without my football. So we just want to go over some of our standout players, our top 5 teams, our BCS rankings, and give you a little bit NBA update. And this is the third week of the NBA. We're going to go over our top 5 NBA teams as well. I'll kick it off. I want to start with my offensive standout players from the last week in the NFL. I'm going to start with Mr. Carson Palmer.
Finally arrived.
Finally, man. You've been getting so much crap this whole year. You're throwing too many interceptions, but 419 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that's 6-4. If you rewind the tapes, look at our NFL preview. I said the Cardinals will be one of the teams to watch out for. So they are the sleeper team at 6-4. So y'all watch out for them. Next quarterback, I just want to give a quick shout out to Big Ben. He had a great game, 376 yards, 4 TDs, and the last 2 teams to win games was Pittsburgh and New York. And don't laugh, but they both 4-6 right now.
Right, found a little winning streak.
They making a little run. Now at the running back position, I only have one running back this week because he deserves to be up there all by himself. Mr. Bobby Rainey from your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Undrafted rookie free agent. You know, Dougie Doug went down. Yeah. Who you going to call? Mr. Bobby Rainey.
Right.
30 attempts, 163 yards, 2 touchdowns in the blowout win over the Falcons. Hey. Salute, Mr. Rainey.
Not bad for a 4-stringer.
Exactly, man. You doing a nice job trying to pick up the slack there. Now, at the wideout position, I'm going to go Michael Floyd from the Arizona Cardinals. He had a nice game. I mean, Carson threw for 400, so one of them receivers had to have a nice game.
Right.
6 receptions, 193 yards, 1 touchdown. I just want to give a quick shout-out to another Buccaneer, B-Jax. Vincent Jackson, man, 10 receptions, 165 yards, 1 touchdown. And he's been by far the most consistent player on the Bucs this year besides Darrelle Revis and Levante David. So I want to give you a quick shout out. And also shout out to Megatron, 6 receptions, 179 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So those are my standout players from the NFL Week 11.
Yep.
All right, now what about on the defense side of the ball?
Man, I'm just kind of shocked I got some Buccaneers that we mentioned here.
2 shout-outs.
2 shout-outs, man. That's good news right there. We're moving on up. Hopefully we get win number 3 coming against the Lions this weekend, so we'll have to wait and see. But as far as defense goes, I got a few just quick players I want to mention. First off, I got to start off with Jarius Byrd from the O. All right? Right, he's safety, 3 tackles, 1 sack, 2 interceptions. The Bills played the Jets. I thought the Jets would play a little bit better of a game, a little bit more competitive. They lost, obviously, the Jets did, 14-37, and that big 37 obviously is part of Jarius Byrd playing some really good football for them. So shout out to you, Jarius. You're playing really well. You had a little injuries at the beginning of the year. You're showing people you're starting getting back to that Pro Bowl form, so good for you. Next, I want to go to 2 players that did something that we haven't seen since a couple weeks ago. If you remember, a couple weeks ago, we talked about Antrell Roll. He was one of the only players to get a tackle, a sack, an interception, and a forced fumble. Right. Now, all of a sudden, we got Ahmad Brooks and Michael Johnson, respectively, from the 49ers and the Bengals. They did the same exact thing. Mirrored stat line. 2 tackles each, 1 sack each, 1 interception each, and 1 forced fumble each. Wow. It's hard to do. You know, in a season, you're going to get that only maybe a handful of times. Obviously, with Ahmad Brooks, your team lost, 20-23 to the Saints. Obviously, this is the 2nd week in a row I mentioned your name. And Ahmad Brooks, it seems like we talked about him.
He's a baller, man. You know, he just got Aldon Smith back last week, but he's still holding it down as far as their top pass rusher.
I think he might be the most underrated linebacker in the NFC besides Derek Johnson in the AFC for, obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs. He always brings it every game, good motor, and obviously he's putting up stats like that. And Michael Johnson, he's a pretty good player himself. DN from Cincinnati, they're going to win the division. They're playing great. Malaluga had the injury. You had some different players step up. Obviously, Michael Johnson was one of them. Shout out to you. And last but not least, I don't want to be biased, but another Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Okay. Believe it or not.
Tampa Bay shout-out.
Tampa Bay shout-out, I guess. It's Mr. Gerald McCoy, right? One of the best D tackles in the league besides Ndamukong Suh.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the stat line: 4 tackles, 3 sacks.
Ooh.
And 2 of the sacks were back-to-back plays.
Ooh.
So Matt Ryan, I know you met Gerald McCoy. You probably don't want to meet him until next year. So shout out to you. That was our second win in a row. And we're going for the Lions, obviously, this weekend. So shout out to you 3. Actually, technically, you 4 for obviously a good game this weekend. And I want to transition really quick to the BCS.
AKA?
The Bullcrap standings.
All right.
So let's go through it real quick. We got number 1, Alabama. They're not going anywhere. 10-0.
Roll Tide.
Right, Roll Tide. You are the best. You defeated Mississippi State 20-7. You started a little slow. A couple of the doubters out there were wondering, why aren't you winning 60-7? But hey, they play a good game, and sometimes they put in your bench players.
Yeah, Alabama's not that kind of team with explosive like the Ducks or say a Baylor.
Right. And they might roll Tide, but they're not going to roll on someone
Right.
if they're already winning the game. But next up, you got Chattanooga, right? Do they even have a football team? So that's who they play next. But then the key one is 2 weeks from now is Auburn,
Ooh.
and it's at Auburn. So if there's going to be a shakeup in these next couple weeks, that could be the one team out of all the teams, even the team that plays them in the Natty, that might have the best chance to knock them off. So
AKA the Iron Bowl.
Iron Bowl.
That's what they call it out there.
Bo Jackson and everyone else will be watching, so stay tuned. It'll be a great one. Next up, number 2, Florida State. Famous Jameis.
Oh,
Playing great out there.
amid all of the controversy that's going on
Yeah.
with you, Jameis, man, I believe you. Dog.
Yeah,
You ain't
so
doing
Famous Jameis, you had a little controversy. You have defeated Syracuse last week 59-3. You're coming back-to-back weeks winning 59-3. Really showing how good your defense really is. Next up, Idaho. They have a football team, so I guess the schedule gets a little soft for these premier teams towards the end, but you do have the Florida Gators in a couple weeks from now. So that'll be not a true test, but that'll be the better opponent, obviously, between Idaho and Florida. So we'll see if the Gators can bring it to play, and I don't think that they can beat Florida State, but it should still be a fun game to watch for rivalry's sake. So that's number 2. Number 3, Ohio State. You defeated Illinois 60-35. You're actually showing that maybe you deserve to be in the top 5.
Hey, they barking, man. Urban Meyer, he got a lot to say about the BCS.
Right, and you play Indiana, obviously, next, and they are more of a basketball school, so obviously they're going to roll them, but you got Michigan 2 weeks from now. So that'll be the key rivalry game. Michigan isn't as good as they used to be, obviously, in past years, so I don't know if they can beat Ohio State, but it should still be a good game for rivalry's sake. One of the best ones to watch at the end of the year. Number 4, 9-0, Baylor Bears.
Okay.
This is my favorite team in the top 10 besides Oregon.
I love Baylor, man. They call themselves the Oregon Ducks of the South, and I believe that, man. You're averaging almost 65 points a game.
Yeah, and when you're playing teams like Texas Tech and winning 63-34, Texas Tech is a pretty good team.
Solid, right.
They're pretty solid, so to do that, that's very impressive.
They rolled Oklahoma too when Oklahoma was number 10 ranked in the country. So
Yeah, and then next up this weekend, number 10, Oklahoma State.
Okay,
So we'll see if Baylor can keep rolling. So you're playing great. Keep it up. Number 5, proud to say, it's our Oregon Ducks. Here we are. We're back.
hey, thank you USC.
Yeah.
Shout out to USC.
Yeah, shout out to USC. I think it's the only time any Duck fan ever has rooted for USC. But I know a lot of us are rooting for Oregon Ducks. We played Utah. Nice little victory, 44-21. Next up, we got Arizona Wildcats.
Okay.
We should take care of business there. And we got the Beavers for the Civil War. So it should be nice and competitive, but as long as things keep moving the way that they should, we are the best one-loss team at this point.
Right.
So hopefully a Rose Bowl, maybe against Ohio State's in our future. That's what we're looking for.
Rematch.
So rematch of 09, so that's what we're looking for, a little payback. Number 6, 10-1 Auburn. So this is the surprise team
man,
in the
just
top
creeping
10.
Up. It just keep creeping.
Right? You defeated Georgia 43-38 with a
Nice
long
game.
Hail Mary pass
Yes.
at the end. If you didn't see it on SportsCenter, it broke the hearts of Georgia players and fans. But hey, it was one of the best plays I've seen all year. They're looking good. They got a bye week to prepare for Alabama. So guaranteed, you better be ready to watch this game because this is going to be a must-see game, the Iron Bowl, obviously, with Auburn and Alabama. So must watch to that game. Number 7, we want to go to Clemson. They're still there.
Okay,
they're
still hanging around.
still hanging around. They defeated Georgia Tech 55-31. Next up, they got a soft one, Citadel. So I guess Citadel. I guess they got a football team. That's what they tell me. And then 2 weeks from now, they got South Carolina. That'll be a better test.
all right.
So we'll see. How they play against them. Number 8, we got Missouri. Shout out Jimmy Whitaker.
Jimmy Whitaker.
Out there. It must be nice
Mizzou.
to be living in Missouri. Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
You got Mizzou out there. That must
Oh, yeah.
be nice.
He's loving it right now. Shout out Jimmy.
Shout out to you, Jimmy. And you got a bye week, obviously, from before, but you got Ole Miss this week. So you prepared for a week for Ole Miss, and then you got A&M right after that. So Johnny Football, it'll be coming to town, so we'll have to see how that goes. But shout out to Mizzou. Didn't think you'd still be here this late in the season.
They still are, even without their starting quarterback. But Franklin is coming back this week.
Yeah, I heard he's starting to come back here pretty soon, so look out for him. Number 9, 8-2 Stanford. I know Stanford fans, you're upset that you let that one go, but USC was primed to win that game.
Right.
I knew they had a chance, to win that game, and they lost 17-20, but you do have 2 pretty easy games, Cal and Notre Dame, so you're going to bounce back, and more than likely, Stanford will probably make a Fiesta Orange. They'll be making some type of bowl, so they'll still finish off their year pretty strong, and it represents the Pac-12 strong in a way, too, out here, in the Northwest. And then number 10, last but not least, Oklahoma State. You're sitting at number 10, 9-1. You defeated Texas 38-13. Mac Brown's job may be in jeopardy, but hey, you're looking pretty well yourself. Next up is Baylor and Oklahoma. So this is the true team right here that if you can win these next 2 games, you're going to be in the top 5. And it's kind of weird to think Oklahoma State is better than Oklahoma.
That's what I was
but
about to say.
Hey, that's just how it is nowadays. But that's the BCS top 10 for this week. Let's transition over to the NFL.
NFL Power Rankings. Our top 5 teams, Northwest Sports Fanatics.
All right.
A crazy weekend of football. First up, you got to go Denver Broncos, 9-1. The undefeated Chiefs came into their house and they handled the Chiefs. Peyton Manning, he throws for 300 yards 9 out of the 10 games that he's played. Remember when 300-yard games used to be a big deal?
Big deal.
Like, wow.
Right.
And he's just doing it with ease. So shout out to Denver Broncos, number 1 ranked team, 9-1. Number 2, we're going to stay up here in the Northwest, the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, Legion of Boom.
And with Mr. Percy Harvin back,
Oh,
wow. Hey, Russell Westbrook, he's 13-0 at home.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. Sorry about that. Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, there we go.
You balling too out there. I see. But Russell Wilson, he's 13-0 at home. And right now they do have the inside track for the home field advantage, which I think is going to be key there in the NFC. Number 3 team, we're going to go with the New Orleans Saints.
Drew Brees.
A good win over the 49ers. I mean, Drew Brees and Darren Sproles, to me, he's probably the most underrated offensive player in the NFL.
Absolutely.
He's such a dynamic weapon. So shout out to New Orleans out there. Number 4, Kansas City Chiefs. We had this conversation last week about who did they beat.
Right.
And, you went up against a game Peyton Manning Broncos squad. So no shame into losing to the Broncos. They are a great team. But you're at 9-1. I'm concerned about 35 sacks your first 7 games. But your last 3, you only had 1 sack.
And I didn't see Peyton really fall down or get pressured too much in that game, so that's a huge concern if you want to not only make the playoffs, but actually go deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, Jimmy, man, come on. We got to get Tamba Ali. We got to get Houston. We got to get them back on track and racking up them sacks. Now, my number 5 team, the Carolina Panthers.
Wow, they showed up.
They showed up in a huge way. Now, Cam Newton,
Right.
Mr. Cam.
Rip it, Superman.
I love Cam Newton, man. He's maturing into the leader that they all wanted him to be. But the key for them is their defense.
Right.
Luke Kuechly.
Unbelievable.
And Mr. Charles Johnson.
Yeah. Which he got injured, though, in the game, so we'll have to see his status.
Yeah, we'll see how his status is for the upcoming weeks. And also, don't sleep on Thomas Davis, their linebacker, as well. But those are our top 5 NFL teams. Let's shift over to the NBA.
All right.
There's NBA going on right now. What about our NBA power rankings?
So NBA power rankings, Northwest Sports Fanatics, we're a couple weeks in, and this will change from week to week. But number 1, we got the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay.
Right, you're 9-1. Duncan, Ginobili, Parker, Popovich. I mean,
Best coach in the game.
It doesn't get any better. I mean, obviously, you think that at some point they're going to start falling off.
Mm-hmm.
But every year you say that, they're still there.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like a lingering pest. They're always there. They're never going to quit. They're always going to be there. So to me, if Popovich is there, they're going to keep winning. They're always going to be a top 4 team. So shout out to the Spurs. You're playing well. And just one little side note, the only one loss the Spurs do have is the Portland Trailblazers. Shout out to Portland. You're playing well.
Right.
Number 2, Indiana Pacers. Right, you're 9-1. You were number 1 on our power ranking list for a couple weeks, but you did have your first loss. It was pretty bad to the Bulls,
yeah.
right? But eventually you're going to have some losses. This is the NBA. This is an 82-game season, so you're going to have some losses. But Paul George averaging 23 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Next superstar in this league, playing great. He's carrying the team, so shout out to you, Paul George.
With 2 first names.
2 first names. Ridiculous. And then number 3, at a surprise maybe to some people across the country, our Portland Trail Blazers
they're playing
here.
great right
Portland Trail Blazers. We're 8-2. Wesley Matthews, Nicholas Batum. That's the real key. Also with our bench, I love Mo Williams. He's playing great for us. So shout out to you. We got the Milwaukee Bucks actually on right now, on tonight. So we'll hopefully get a W there. Number 4, Miami Heat.
Okay.
You already knew Miami Heat's going to climb up the charts as we go through this. LeBron and company.
Oh, yeah.
You rested Wade last night against the Hawks, defeated them pretty easily. Look for them to continue winning, and at some point, I would probably say in the next month or two, look for maybe a 10 to 12 game win streak.
They're gonna make that run.
They're going to make a little run, so they'll be up there on the
Too
top
good.
of the standings pretty soon. And then number 5, we got to go to Splash Brothers.
Okay.
Right, Golden State Warriors. Right, you're 7-3. You got the best coach in the NBA besides, to me, Greg Popovich and Mark Jackson. Great coach, great announcer, great sportscaster, and he's got them motivated at 7-3 to keep moving forward and hopefully make a Western Conference Finals for them because that's what they're looking for. What about games to watch? Let's just transition real quick for college and NFL.
All right.
Games to watch for college as we're going to transition. We got 4 big ones, really 3 big ones, and one I just want to mention. The first big one is going to be Texas A&M at number 12
Okay.
in the BCS versus number 22 LSU. So even though LSU is number 22, don't sleep on them. Still a solid team, and this is a good NFL audition for Johnny Football. How good are you?
Also, Mettenberger there.
Yeah, Mettenberger as well. So watch that. That's going to be at 12:30 at CBS. That's going to be an awesome game to watch. Next game, number 4 Baylor, right? Showcase team, kind of like the Ducks, versus number 10 Oklahoma State, who likes to put up points themselves.
Yes, they do.
That's going to be on at 5 o'clock on ABC as one of the showcase games. Evening game, great matchup, great players, so look for that. And then one of the kind of under sleeper games is going to be number 17 Arizona State versus number 14 UCLA.
Oh.
Now, the winner of this game is going to probably play, more than likely, the winner of the North in the Pac-12, which might be Oregon,
Right.
if things keep going the way that they're going. So, key matchup to see who Oregon may play in the Pac-12 championship. Both teams are really solid, so it could go either way. And then just a quick shout-out, since we're just Northwest fans out here, number 5 Oregon against Arizona. So, we should be able to take care of business, obviously, and hopefully make our way to the Rose Bowl if things all happen the way they're supposed to. So we'll see for there. What about NFL? What do we got? Any good NFL games to
Yeah,
watch?
we got a
this weekend?
couple of good NFL games to watch this weekend. First up, we're going to go Indianapolis Colts against the Arizona Cardinals.
Swaggy P.
Swaggy P. Shout out to Swaggy P out there. Chuck Pagano going against Arians.
Yeah,
You
Bruce
know,
Arians.
he was the interim head coach when Indy made their run last year for Pagano. So it should be a good game. Arizona's playing well. India's playing well. So that should be one of the better games this week.
It'll be interesting to see what D plays better in
Yeah.
that game. So
So that is my first game. The next game in the NFC East, the NFC East, we got the Dallas Cowboys versus the New York Giants. Now, don't look now. The Giants are sitting at 4-6, only a game behind.
Yeah.
Dallas out there.
4-game winning streak.
4-game winning streak. Eli is getting his thing together. So watch out. Dallas coming off a bye, so they had time to rest up, heal up. DeMarcus Ware will be back this weekend. And the last game I want to speak on is a must-see TV. This might be the last time you get to see this.
Uh-oh.
Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady.
Oh, classic.
Denver versus New England Patriots. So 2 Hall of Fame QBs, arguably top 5 best quarterbacks of all time.
Yep.
They going at it on Sunday night. So make sure y'all check out those games to watch from Northwest Sports Fanatic.
And Brady might be a little pissed from that game, obviously with the Panthers at the end,
yeah.
the way that game ended. So that should be
I'm upset for you,
should be pretty heated game. So must watch for that game.
And also, before we go, I want to give a quick shout out to the NBA Players of the Week. In the Western Conference, they voted Blake Griffin the Player of the Week. The Clippers went 3-0.
All right.
Blake averaged 25 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal. I would like for you to get some blocks in there.
Right. Not as good as Aldridge or Kevin Love,
that, man.
right?
Yeah, and in the East, of course, it was LeBron James. You know, he shot ridiculous 70% from the field.
Wow.
They went 3-0. He averaged 34 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. Now, you can follow me on Twitter, MarcusHill_NWSF.
And Orion_NWSF.
Hit us up on Facebook.com/NW Sports Fanatics.
We want to shout out all our sponsors. We really appreciate all the love and support we're getting. Follow our page. Help us out.
Share it, like the page for us. Hit us up on Instagram @NW Sports Fanatics. Shout out to Banner Bob for the banner in the background. Hit him up at thesignshack.net. I'm Marcus. This is Orion. And together,
We are Northwest Sports Fanatics.
see y'all next week.